Good morning, Vietnam and the rest of the world. How's it going? Andrea Ruley, 7100. What's going on? Hobbit Habits, hello. Give you a little wave there. We've got all kinds of people joining. Hey, we are going to give everybody a little bit of time to jump on. Really looking forward to this. I don't know, for those of you that are just randomly jumping on, stick around. This is actually part of a planned and intentional 4-week series that we're doing on Tuesday mornings for marriages. If you're here, hello, what's up, Elaine Tan Lien? Hey, if you're here specifically for the marriage talk and you knew it, you were waiting to get on at 11, will you just give me some type of, give me a that's me, give me a emoji, something. Oh, yes, Caitlin Burton. The podcast with Dear Young Married Couple, so good. You got to check them out. If you guys haven't checked them out, they're phenomenal. Hi from Brazil. Check this out. Boom. Got that in February when we were down there. We loved Brazil. Brazil was an absolute awesome trip. Hey, so if you are on here specifically for the marriage message. Oh, there we go. There's some, that's me, that's us, awesome, me, hello, I love it. We're going to have an awesome time. We've got some great friends joining us, Jody and Missy Vaughn. They're the men's and women's pastors at Bayside Church Adventure Campus in Sacramento. It's one of the largest churches in Northern California, 13,000 and some people. They're doing some unbelievable things at that church. And these two are some of the best people I know. They do marriage so well. They do family so well. It's going to be really, really awesome. They're going to be joining us a little bit after 11. They had a women's ministry thing Missy was finishing up. Engaged, excited to learn. Awesome. That's so great that you're engaged. It's perfect. It's going to be really great for you. A lot of good content that I know Jody and Missy are going to share. I've had some great conversations in preparation for today, just kind of getting ready. The next few weeks are going to be super awesome. Next week, we're going to be talking through, let's see, next week is the 31st. Becky and Derek Johnson, worship pastor and youth pastor from Jesus Culture in Sacramento, are going to be joining us. Becky happens to be one of our speakers for MR, so she travels on our behalf. Derek's our go-to worship leader. He leads worship for a lot of them. Anybody know Becky and Derek? Give me a little bit of I know Becky and Derek some way. Give me some creative emoji to tell me that you know Becky and Derek. Anybody? Let's see, Chanel says, I'm engaged. That's awesome. Security hat girl from Alaska. Awesome, man. That was a year and a half ago or 2 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. Singles can watch. Absolutely. Singles can watch. Sorry if we say anything that makes you uncomfortable. We will be talking about sex, I'm sure. I don't know if Jody and Missy have ever not talked about sex, but, yeah. So, and then the week after that, it's going to be Doug and Gretchen Reed. They've been married for 20 plus years, lead pastors down in Oceanside, California, just north of San Diego. One of the things we really wanted to do is we want to bring people from outside of Bethel into these conversations, because I think a lot of people, really, we get so much from our powerful Bethel teachers that we have here at Bethel. But we also want to expose everybody to teachers that are outside of this realm and pastors and leaders that are doing really well. One of our hearts with MR is to kind of create bridges across denominations and streams and just belief systems in the church. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do with this time. Yes, and it is. These IGTV, this will be on for 24 hours. Don't worry, we're going to post it. You'll be able to share it, come back to it. Hey, so one of the things we're going to start with right now, I'm going to jump into it. I think that this time where we're designated at home, we're kind of on assignment with family. I think that's the way I've been looking at this is, hey, I'm on assignment to go deeper with the Lord. I'm on assignment to go deeper with my wife. I'm on assignment to go deeper with my kids. That's really the way I'm choosing to view this. You know, obviously I'm not trying to downplay or belittle. Hey, John Buckner, what's up, brother? We're not trying to downplay or belittle the significance of the moment and the heartache that people are experiencing and the tragedy that's happened to some. But I also think God's called us to have a different perspective and approach to things. And so the perspective and approach that we're taking is one of positivity and saying, all right, Holy Spirit, all right, Lord, what do you have for us right now? What is this an invitation to? What are you calling us to in this time? I know I've experienced depth with my kids in a way I honestly probably hadn't in months, maybe even years. And so really want to kind of encourage you to do that. What I'd love to do, I want to share with you personally what I'm growing in right now, what my wife and I, what we're growing in together. Really vulnerably, just kind of share with you where we're at with Caitlin and I, and the opportunity it's given us before Jody and Missy jump on. And so I think personally what I'm doing to grow, and I'd love to hear from you personally, and then we're going to talk about what are you growing in your marriage, because my wife and I, Kate and I, have been growing a ton in our marriage in just our communication and stuff. But on a personal level, I'm going through this book, Chris Valadin, Basic Training for the Prophetic Ministry. I picked this up about 2 weeks ago, and this is an area God's really been challenging me on in my own life, is going into new depths and taking risks, being willing to share words with people and step out of my comfort zone in that realm. It's been really significant. Obviously, I've had way more time to dive into that. So I'd love to hear what's something you guys are doing personally right now. I know John Buckner, you guys see his name on there. He's a personal life coach. They do a lot of great stuff with just personal mental health, emotional health, but then also physical health, getting in shape, staying in shape, getting healthier for your body. Could be a great opportunity to dive into some of that stuff personally. And the reason we start this marriage talk with the personal side is my marriage is strongest when I'm personally healthy. When I'm stressed and I'm overwhelmed with something and I'm not handling that really well, I see that in my marriage a ton. That really begins to creep into my marriage when I haven't fought for personal health. So I'd love to just kind of hear from you. What are areas, what's something you guys are working on? Has anybody got a resource that you're diving into that you could just recommend to everybody that's on the live, that you would say, hey, this is something I'm diving into that's been significant for me? Love for you to comment on it. Go for it and toss that out real quick. Share some resources that you're utilizing right now. Go. Relationship coach. That is awesome. How do you overcome being single for almost 12 years before the right one comes along? Sorry, this isn't the single live. You got to tune in tomorrow at 11 for the single live. They'll answer all kinds of questions. Oh man, so sorry, I'm not asking. I would love to answer the questions. We're going to get to that stuff, telling men that are staying home for porn. But right now, I'd love to hear you share resources that you're diving into that have been significant for you already. Learning to parent two under two while in heavy duty marriage counseling. Man, that is definitely tough. This is a great time to go to counseling though. Man, jumping into online counseling could be huge. Nothing Hidden Ministries is awesome. That's a part of Love After Marriage. This is one of our recommended things. Lori and Barry Byrne. They do this through Bethel. You can get this kind of stuff on their website or loveaftermarriage.org. Huge stuff right now. If you could go through this as a couple together, it would be massive. You can actually buy this book on our Moral Revolution website as well. Really big. The Chosen TV series, awesome. Women After God's Own Heart by Elizabeth George. Exploring the Prophetic by Sean Bowles. Amazing. Worshiping Together. Man, worshiping together has been awesome. Just loving worshiping together. Diving into scripture, of course. Taking online tap from Operation Tap with a pro choreographer. Holy smokes. The only thing that makes my brain stop, that is, choreography online. That has got to be a challenge, but I love it. Intended for Pleasure. Yes, we love Intended for Pleasure. Super, definitely recommend that. His Needs, Her Needs. Man, another great book to dive into right now for a married couple. Get into the content of this. Power of a Praying Wife. Couple things. Let's see. Working on the new wineskin with God. That's awesome. Learning communication is not something to do just when you're arguing, but everyday journey. Retweet, Rebecca. Retweet. Any podcasts you recommend for marriage? Absolutely. Number one, our last two podcasts for Moral Revolution. We're with a couple that lead a ministry called Dear Young Married Couple, the Kings. They're licensed in marriage family therapists. They actually get into an impromptu counseling session with Caitlin and I. Super awesome. Jump on and find that. While we're talking, I'm going to look up the title of it. I don't know the actual title of it. even though I should. I'm not the one that titles. I might just kind of sit there and interview awesome people. But dive into that podcast. Really great podcast. Even leaning into Dear Young Married Couples content. You can find them on Instagram. They're friends of ours. They're people we've built relationship with now intentionally because of the kind of stuff they create. We've found some unbelievably significant content on their site. And so really recommend you diving into their stuff. They're out of Sacramento. They even do online counseling. So if you're like, hey, we're going to use this time to do some online counseling, grab their stuff. Oh my goodness. The Connected Life, Abby and Justin Stumval, Caitlin Burton 7. Yes. Go grab their stuff, y'all. It will not just change your marriage. It will change your life. Abby and Justin's podcast is so unbelievable. You've got to jump onto that. You got to get their content. Caitlin and I, thankfully, they're some of our good friends. So we get their content for free just in conversation, just talking with them, and they, like, I very rarely have a conversation with Justin where he hasn't ultimately completely counseled me. I feel like I have to pay him for our friendship. It's kind of ridiculous. All right. I'm pulling up our podcast here. Accountability for Couples is a podcast that we offer. So if you go to our website, you can actually Google these things. Let's see, what's the name of these ones? These ones in particular. We've got a great one with Eric and Candace Johnson called Sharing the Truth in Love. Let's see, Healthy Mindsets for Marriage is one of ours with a guy named Curtis Zachary. He's got a lot of great insight. He's a pastor out of Nashville, Church of the City in Nashville. Really significant content he's got. So Healthy Mindsets for Marriage is one of them that we have. Again, a part of our podcast, if you were to just search our podcasts. So we got a lot of great podcasts there. Also recommend our book that Havla wrote. Kate and I didn't write it. It was the director before Kate and I were leading Moral Revolution, called The Naked Truth About Sexuality. Really good book right now. We actually offer it online too, as an online ebook for, I think, just $10 or something like that. Really good book because it teaches you the biology, like what's going, the trust ladder. Yeah, Chanel, that one's phenomenal. But it teaches you what's going on in the brain, like what's happening in the brain during sex, which also we found actually uncovers and opens up for a lot of people their own current struggles. I'm going to share a little bit right now, and this was the next step. I'm just going to lead into it. Before we get into things with Jody and Missy, I want to talk from our personal story. Caitlin and I, we've shared our story pretty openly. If you follow Moral Revolution at all in the last 2 years, you've heard our story. But one of the significant aspects of our our marriage relationship, was that we had a hard time having sex at the beginning part of our marriage. Couple of the cliff notes there. We didn't have sex on our honeymoon. We didn't have it on our wedding night, obviously. It actually took us a few weeks to be able to be intimate together. We got into marriage and we began to discover a number of issues. Caitlin had some physical issues that she had to work through, that prevented her from really being able to engage with me sexually. She couldn't be intimate. We got to a place where we even realized once the physical issues were addressed, what happened is we then began to realize not only did she have physical issues, but she also had emotional and mental issues and from past experiences. A counselor actually ultimately diagnosed her with PTSD. Because what happened is she'd had a number of experiences in middle school and high school that had a significant impact on the way she viewed love, the way she viewed sexual intimacy. And she never thought at 13 that was going to impact her marriage at 25, right? Like most of us don't ever think that that's going to happen. And that was one of the things we actually discovered was these early experiences in middle school and high school actually had a really significant impact on her ability to connect with me intimately. Even though I wasn't the reason for the pain, her subconscious had attached sexual intimacy and coercion and social pressure. She felt very socially pressured to walk into stuff that she didn't mean and shouldn't have walked into, and was really too young and innocent to know better. And so she, during that year and a half of counseling, we actually didn't have any sexual interaction at all. That was a really tough year and a half for both of us. Wasn't intended for it to be that long. That wasn't what we had hoped. We knew she needed a reset. And so we created that space for her to have a reset that ended up being 18 months of no sexual intimacy. Was not our heart and was not what we wanted, but ended up becoming really our reality there. And I think during that time, one of the things that we fought for, and this is the advice I want to give right now, is really fight for intentional conversation. I think with marriage, it can be really easy to forget the value of intentional conversation. We forget how valuable it is to dive into, hey, we're gonna talk on purpose. And we're going to sit down. The problem with doing it on purpose is it doesn't feel organic and therefore it doesn't feel authentic. And I just want to encourage every marriage out there, whether it's conversation or it's lovemaking. I think in sex that really applies. It feels like if we intentionally said it, that we're going to have sex during this time, we've now lost our organicness. We've lost this feeling of spontaneity. It's like the movies demonstrate this passionate, spontaneous, do it in the office, do it on the kitchen table type of sex. And I'm going to be honest, man, that's exciting. Kate and I have had moments like that where, man, we were super passionate and it just, man, the blood was pumping. Let's do this thing, baby. And we kind of threw out caution. That's maybe 5 to 2% of our intimacy, right? A lot of our intimacy comes through intentional connection. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have to, in our marriages, disconnect intentionality being a bad thing. We think that sitting down and talking through it is a bad thing. We're setting up that, hey, we're going to do it during this time. And I would even apply that right now in this season, this moment that we're all in. Hey, have intentional conversation. And for some of us, give yourself permission to acknowledge we've forgot how to connect. I want to encourage the marriages to sit on that for a second. It's okay to acknowledge we forgot how to connect. We've been co-parenting. We've been co-working. We've ultimately been co-managing our life. And the fact that you've had to relearn how to connect with your spouse right now is not an indictment on you or your marriage. It does not mean your marriage is bad, falling apart. It just simply means that you've got to reteach your mind and your brain how to reconnect right now and give each other grace to do it. It's so critical that we're giving ourselves grace to intentionally reconnect. And I think that book that I referenced a second ago that Havilah wrote called, again, Let's Talk About, or it's called The Naked Truth of Sexuality, actually helps with understanding that because it teaches the significance of sex and identity, but she also unpacks the neurotransmitters and dopamine and serotonin and what's going on in our brains that have caused us to be connected to something or to our spouse. And it helps us realize, oh, wait a sec, let's reconnect in a new way and let's create a totally new mental pathway. That's ultimately what we're doing that people don't even realize. We're reopening relational mental pathways that we literally haven't opened probably in years, because of the way that our life has been set up and our situations, our jobs, our careers have been set up. So it's so critical to commit to, I'm going to go on a journey right now to reopen old mental pathways and strengthen them. And man, what a great comment looking at Rebecca. Intimacy doesn't happen on its own. It's something that has to be worked on. That is so true. The struggle is most of us think that intimacy happens organically and it feels inauthentic if it's not. I just want to break that lie for a second. I'm going to pray. I'm going to do something kind of out of the norm. We're going to give a little bit of a mini altar call. I want to hear a wave if you want this prayer to be you, that you're like, man, you know what? I had thought connection and sexuality has to be organic, and when it's not, it feels inauthentic. Would you just give me a wave? Because I'm going to pray for that group of people right now. I'm going to stop. I'm going to pray for you and just trust that the Lord is going to speak to you right now. So little online altar call, Instagram live moment in the Holy Spirit. So just going to wait a sec. Go ahead and give me a wave if that's you and you're like, you know what? I want to lean into intentional connection with my partner, both through communication and sexuality, and I'm going to shift my mindset. I want God to shift my mindset right now from needing it to be organic to feel authentic. But I'm going to realize, hey, I've got to create some new mental habits. All right, a couple more seconds here for anybody else that wants to give me a waiver of me. Is lack of authenticity. So we just break that mindset. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm praying. Let me finish my prayer, and then we're going to introduce you guys to everybody. So Lord, I just pray for everybody's heart and mind that has connected spontaneity to intention, to authenticity, God, that you would kind of help them work through separating that, dismantle that old thinking, and help them to realize that intentionality in marriage is authentic, that it is meant to be authentic, it can be authentic, that it creates a lot of significant power in both our connection sexually and relationally, that people would really begin to understand the power and the weight of being intentional in the way that we connect with each other, that they wouldn't feel like it has to be this spontaneous thing that's been demonstrated on the internet. So just renew pathways, restore thinking, and help build new habits over old habits that maybe started right but led down in a painful path, so that they can operate in a place of leaning into connection intentionally that ultimately is going to lead to powerful spontaneity later. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
This is so exciting.
Very exciting. How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, we can hear you great. How are you guys doing? How was the Bible study this morning?
Oh my goodness, it was awesome. We had around 70 ladies that joined us, and so it's a lot of fun, especially when everyone's trying to talk at one time. That's really fun to know.
No doubt. All the Zoom calls have been the same.
Oh my goodness, that's so fun. It looks like you're about to play some Fortnite, Cole.
No, this is our noise canceling headphones I bought for airplanes, but I found also work for coronavirus quarantines and for children.
Yes.
We need that.
So there's some advice for you.
That is so awesome.
Let us know where you got those. We'll use them.
I think I need some Corona headphones for sure.
It's pretty great. That's true. I need to let my wife use these to tune me out. So we all know she needs to tune me out way more than I need to tune her out. So
that is the truth. Amen.
So the truth is, where are your kids right now? That's what I want to know.
She actually loaded them up in the car and took them on a drive because she knew that even with these, it was going to be a mess. So they are out driving somewhere. Thankfully, we have a TV in our car.
Well, we have 4 kids, you know that. But one, we had my parents are taking him for a drive. I was like, can you just take Logan?
He can be the X factor sometimes.
He can be the one that pushes over the
Totally.
But we were laughing.
Totally.
So the kids, I go, look, don't interrupt us for about however long. I said, if you're bleeding a little, that does not. I said, but if a lot of blood is when you can come in here, okay?
That's right.
We're like, okay, we got this.
It's got to be spurting out. If it's gushing, you can come in.
There's no spurting. You're safe. Yeah, it's all good.
That's right.
So fun.
Well, hey, let's introduce you guys to everybody. I'm really excited about this. Just for everybody that's on, Caitlin and I were actually interns for Jody and Missy a bazillion years ago.
A long time ago.
We got a lot of fun stories.
That's right. They were our pre-marriage accountability. We were going to them when we were going through stuff, and when we were crossing lines we shouldn't have been crossing. Let's just be honest.
You kept us the most busy, that's for sure.
That's true. That's what happens when you choose to wait till you're an adult and wait till you're married. It's the last 2 years are tough.
It is.
But so Jody and Missy have been in ministry forever. We were on staff together after we interned for them at Capitol for a long time, and now you guys are at Bayside. Tell everybody a little bit about what you're doing, your family, and honestly, talk about yourselves, like how great you are, because you guys are the perfect people to be talking about this topic today. So I'm so excited for everybody to hear from you on it.
Stop. I mean, really.
We're at Bayside Adventure Awesome Church. I am the men's pastor, Missy's the women's pastor. And then we also do marriage too. So it's something we're passionate about. We have, like Miss said, we have 4 kids
that we've kept alive for 15 years. We feel really good.
Isn't it funny that becomes the goal?
Part of the 4 Club.
I think we lost you.
Sometimes it is about survival.
Hold on. There we go. Can we hear it? Can you talk again?
Hello?
It's about survival with 4 children.
It is.
In fact, before I go down that road, several people too that had 4 kids, and we were deciding if we want to have. They're like, oh, have four kids. It's the same as having 3. There's no difference, and they lied. Straight
Absolutely,
up, because it's different.
Not true.
Not true. It's
totally
awesome.
Different.
It's amazing, but it's different. So 4 kids. One is our oldest is girl, 15.
I know she looks like a full-grown adult.
I know, dude.
I'm gonna stop feeding her just so she stops.
Seriously, and lock her up.
I am.
And
the girl is gorgeous.
Aww.
I know.
Inside and out too.
She is.
She does. I don't know where the inside comes from, but the outside, I'll take it.
Yeah. Really, people are like, your kids are so amazing. We don't know where they got it. Honestly.
I was like, whatever,
but we have 13-year-old boy. I have 4, some remember. 11-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy. So we got the whole range.
Yeah.
Keeps us busy. I will say we love being parents. We always have.
This one came in without bleeding.
Hey, there's Davis. I remember Davis. He probably doesn't remember me though.
Oh, he did. There's Cole.
Say hi, Cole.
You say hi to Cole.
Say hi, Cole.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's up? He said, but yes.
All right. So
4 kids and a dog.
Awesome. Now, one of the reasons I wanted you guys to do this in particular, knowing you guys for years, I've known, obviously the last 3 years we've been more disconnected, but I've known your personal life, your ministry life. I've seen you as parents. I've seen you in marriage. Have a crazy amount of respect for how you guys manage your personal life and ministry and your guys' marriage together. And so, I would love for you to kind of just share some tips with everybody. Yeah. Like we're all stuck together in the house, right? Like, which is painfully humorous and painful.
It's the new reality that is here, whether you like it or not. It's here, baby.
It is. Yeah, and I think a lot of people have almost forgot how to connect. That's what we were talking about right before you guys jumped on. It's like, we're not talking bad people. We're not even talking bad marriages. We're just talking people that we maybe forgot how to connect this much, this often, and this intimately.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the good things is what you're talking about is like, even in this bad thing, one of the great things is that this opens up the opportunity for that to happen if we do it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me see your mug. Let me see your mug real quick. What is that?
Oh, it's Brazil. We just got this in February.
It's from Brazil.
Oh, we got a Disneyland mug. Wishing that's where we were.
I mean, these two go to Disneyland about 4 times a month.
That's sad. That's true.
Well, I think today we were wanting to talk a lot about making sure you were able to stay married after the quarantine.
Come on, yes.
Either way,
please tell me what to do.
Yes, you might as well get along the next couple weeks because you can't leave the house. So therefore, we were trying to figure out how do you stay married after you get released from your home.
Okay, tell us. What do we do?
Right. So what we were just talking about when we had first gotten married, you would think that the first year of marriage was bliss, right? It wasn't for us at all.
There were moments of bliss.
Moments. But the truth is, our biggest fight that we ever had was
to this date
was over a can of tuna fish. Now, it's not about the tuna fish, but what happened was Jody went to go make me lunch, and I go, he makes the tuna fish, and we were on a budget.
I'm a pretty good cook too.
Real good cook.
And we are newly married starting ministry budget, if you know what that's
like.
Yeah,
you got no money.
Right. So I get the sandwich, and I take a bite of the sandwich, and it was liquid. Like he didn't push the tuna fish down hard enough. And I remember just taking a bite of it, and I was like, and I slammed the tuna fish down, and he's like, what is happening? I was like, you didn't freaking push the can down. And he goes, yes, I did. I go, no, there's juice in my tuna fish sandwich. I was like, you didn't push it down. And he goes, Missy, what is going on?
It went from 0 to 60 in 1 second. I was like, I'm over there eating my tuna sandwich, and I'm like, what is going on?
And I'm like, you do everything so half-butt. Like, you don't finish.
I'm sure you said but too. I'm sure you said but.
That's right. If I had children around, that's what I would have said. But I didn't have kids. You know what I said. So literally, I was like, you didn't finish it. You never finish what you start. And it started becoming this huge ordeal. And
it ended up in like a 2-hour yelling match.
And
it was like,
was not about the tuna fish can at all.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
And I think as you're stuck together and your marriage is a little rocky, the little things are going to be really ultimately what you're actually dealing with inside. And so I think we were just wanting to give some points of how do you stay married after this? How do you push the tuna fish can all the way down?
Come on.
And not do things half-butted.
Yeah,
so.
Just some super practical things.
That's great. Let's do it.
Some thoughts just to actually put into practice today.
Oh, bye, Cole.
Is he alive? Oh my gosh.
No, I'm good. I'm going to just, as you're talking to him, I'm going to put these points in the comments so people can see them in the comments as well.
Thing.
Awesome.
So really practical tips. And to be honest with you, I really mean this. Take one today and actually do it. Think on it. How can you make it happen? Like we said in this time, there is a lot of stress. There is a lot of things happening. And what can happen is it will affect your marriage. And we need to be proactive in building our marriage and making it a focus during this time. And so that when you do, you can come out actually better than when you went in because like we said, there's things that we can look at that. They're all negatives. Oh, this and that, but we can go, no, this is a great time. We're together and we can focus on us. So here we go.
So practical tip number 1 is check in on each other. Are you okay? And how are you doing? Just being aware of the other person, where they're at. I am an extrovert to the max, and he is an introvert. And one of the memes that I had seen that was so funny was introverts check on your extroverted friends. Introverts check on your extroverted friends. They are not okay. It's true. I told Jody, I was like, I am literally, my cup is not full. You know, when you do things that your cup gets full and you go, that's what makes me filled up. And people are what does that. So as much as I love Zoom calls and as much as I get to see you now, Cole, for the first time in a long time on live, it still isn't the same having that connection. But, Jody's an introvert. So I was like, Jody, why don't you, asking him, are you okay? And he's like, I'm feeling a little stressed that I cannot have alone time.
I would like to speak this to the introverts. Everyone thinks this is a great introvert thing.
But
we're around people the whole time. And sometimes you just need a break for just a little bit.
So asking him, are you okay? He's like, no, I'm not. I need alone time. So go let him take a bath. That's what we did. I stood outside.
We don't have a hot tub, so that's my hot tub now.
So I stood out the door. I'm like, kids, don't bother your dad. He needs a moment by himself, and helping him reset. And then
Missy's an extrovert, and so that's kind of hard during this time. We had our friends came over the other day on the sidewalk, and we were like 10 feet apart the whole time, but we talked.
I'm like, hi.
But it mattered. And she did a Zoom call with her sister. She's purposefully doing a Zoom call with her college friends she went to college with. I'll keep the kids away, but it's even just doing those things, being aware and asking each other. I think it is important to ask each other, hey, how are you doing? Check in on each other. Be aware. We all know love languages are a big deal. Be aware of those love languages. Like for us, Missy's biggest love language is acts of service, which I hate that's her biggest love language.
Doing the tuna fish can.
It drives me crazy. I would love it to be another one, but it's not. But what happens in our house is because she's also the mom and taking care of the house, when we're all in the house, it gets dirty really. 4 kids, it gets dirty fast. They each have something in their hand, they drop it, you got 4 things on the ground. So for us, like even right now, me just cleaning the living room and cleaning the kitchen is a big deal. Knowing her personality, knowing the things that are valuable to her, and being just super aware and being proactive about those things. It keeps the stress tension down, actually, and raises the love bar. So I think it's just super big that you're aware of your other person and asking them, though. Right. I think asking them is key.
I think another good practical tip would just to be focused on the good. Yeah. I think lately, it's easy to go, oh, he's so annoying. Like, the other day I was like, I love you, but I don't like you at all. And so he's like, well, that's great because I don't like you. And so
wait, I got to Cole, we got into even a tiff last night. Hey, what do we want to share? And we were on Google Docs. And so I was going, okay, well, you know, these are some, I think we should share these things rather than these things, you know. And we had a little bit of a tiff, and you know, you can see what the other person writes and what they're editing, and she wrote there, I love you, because we had to apologize.
We had to apologize.
It was just a little fight.
Yeah, just a little one.
Little Google Docs. We said it straight, but
it's amazing how working on a message together will bring out the worst in you.
It is.
Well, I was like, that's a dumb point. We don't need to share that. And he's like, nothing's dumb. Totally. And so, you know, you start going, but it's really trying to focus on what you fell in love with them to begin with. You know, try to really start seeing those things. I know some of us maybe were married 18 years. Some might be in their first year of marriage, which is a true test of everything. You know, Jody the other day was like, I felt like I was a caged animal. You know, when you have if they're backed up against the wall, they're like, their claws are out. And he's like, well,
totally.
Is this a bad time of the month for this to be happening as well? And I was like, you shouldn't have said it, but
I recommend never asking that maybe I felt led of the Holy Spirit, but it wasn't in the middle of a fight. It was, oh my gosh. She was kind of whining and like whatever, and I just
whining. Okay.
But I asked her, and what did you say? I think this is good.
I said, yeah.
She's like, oh wait, I am.
I felt a lot better about it.
And she realized her attitude was there's some other things causing.
Yeah, so it's good. It's make sure that you focus in on the good.
Yeah, and I think this is huge for marriages. I really think this is a principle for marriage. Focus on the good. I'm going to read you Philippians 4:8 because this is what he's. It's the end of Philippians, and so it's like the, you know, where he hits all the, hey, do this, kind of like a recap, or these are the most important things. But then he says this. I'm going to read it in the Message version. Summing it up for all friends, I'd say you'll do best by filling your minds and meditating on things that are true, noble, reputable, authentic, compelling, gracious. And this is how he says it. I love this in the Message. Yeah. Fill your minds with the best, not the worst, the beautiful, not the ugly, things to praise, not things to curse.
That's so good.
So easy to default to the negative. We all do it. And we have to, it is so important that we purposefully, like you were talking about earlier, we purposefully invest and focus on the good things, because you will default to the negative always. Because here's the deal. Yeah. The person you're married to is different from you, and opposites do attract. And half of the things they do aren't wrong. They're just different. And they're just different from what you do, and they're going to annoy you. But when you focus on the good things and let that be your focus, yes, they're going to do those things, but forget it, you know, and take all of that mental energy and go, no, this is what I love about this person. Like Missy said, a lot of times it's going back to even when you first got married, when you were first attracted to that person. What was it? Because those things are still there. And a lot of times when we focus on the negative, it just brings
our bodies might look different.
Better.
Yeah, well, mine looks the same. But you know what that makes me think of?
Yeah, well, all look different.
One of the things that makes me think of, Jody, you know, I've done a lot of reading of Carolyn Leaf, and one of the statements that she makes is, what you think about most will grow.
Totally. You
know, and I think about what you're talking about. It's like, sometimes we think by just focusing on the good, we're acting as if the negative isn't there, which that's not the case. Mm-hmm. Yep. We're just choosing to make sure that our lens is through a positive lens, rather than, like, I feel like the more that I get negative with Caitlin, then all of a sudden I start seeing her through a negative lens, and everything she does is wrong, even stuff that she's not doing wrong.
Totally. It's
you guys ever see that?
And like she says, like Caroline Leaf, it's literally physically growing in your brain. Like, it is the lens. It is totally the lens that you see everything through. And I think for some people, you may have grown up in a family that was negative and sarcastic, and so you don't even realize a lot of times how you're viewing things all the time. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so purposeful that you know, take off the negative and put on the positive, and remind yourself you're just as annoying, and you're just as bad, and you're just as poopy and bad attitude as anybody else in the world.
It's true.
And when you realize that, it transforms. You have a choice, and I think this is so such a God thing that he's given us. You do have a choice in what you want to focus on. You just do. If you've ever been around a positive person, you guys know that you know who you want to be around.
You want to be around the poppies from Trolls. You know, the troll poppy. That's who I want to be.
Well, Missy does. I don't know if Jody wants to be around Poppy from Trolls, but I know Missy does.
But it was funny. We were fighting, and I was like, "You are so annoying." In my head, I said that. Like, I didn't say it out loud, but in my head, I was like, "You are so annoying me right now." And then I walked upstairs to use the restroom, and I'm like, "I'm kind of annoying too." Like, and so it's just resetting what you might have already done, and so.
Really good statement right there. Just resetting what has been and giving yourself both kind of a, hey, let's start this from scratch, reset this thing today. Right. That's really good.
Yeah, it's important to definitely reset. But, you know, I don't remember if you guys used to do this, Cole, but when we grew up, and you probably didn't have this experience, and I don't know how old your viewers are, but I'm aging ourselves right now. So we used to go to the video store to rent a movie. I
went to the video store, Blockbuster. Yes.
Do you still have your membership? I do.
No, I wish I did.
I could sell it on eBay for a lot. But anyway, so we would have to go to the video store, and we would have to pick out our tapes and bring them back when they were VHS. They were not DVD, they were VHS. And so they look a little bit like,
if you don't know,
this.
That's what a VHS looks like.
See right here.
Nice. Yeah.
So then you put it in your machine and you push play, and at the end you have to do something. Well, on the things would always say, "Be kind, rewind," and it would always say that statement. And I used to remember when I'd be done with the videotape, and when our sisters would remember to push rewind, we were like, "We're being kind," and so we would be so stupid about it. But really, it's kind of in this moment right now is just learning to rewind, reset, and to be kind. And
that's good.
We're
I love it.
Yeah.
About how we used to do that with the video.
Be kind, rewind. There's actually a study. Washington University. This is years ago. These two scientists. It's not a Christian study, and they took a bunch of couples. They did several different studies over the years, interviews. Actually made a bed and breakfast and would monitor people, all this stuff, and they came down to one thing: that what made marriages work, because they were trying to figure out why are all these marriages back. This is in the 80s when they did this. 70s. All of a sudden, all these people are getting divorced. What's going on? They're trying to figure it out, and then they started trying to figure out what was working. And as they did these studies, they came down to the point of they could sit down with a couple, interview him, because I could tell you, and based on studies he did later, 94%, I could tell you with that much accuracy, if that couple could stay together for more than 6 years and beyond, like beyond that forever, whether they were rich or poor, whether they were whatever their ethnicity is, whatever their background was, it didn't matter. The one thing it came down is were they kind to each other? That was the biggest thing. The couples that were kind would have a lasting marriage for, till death do us part. That was and this is not a Christian study. This was it's just a normal secular study. Scientists, they wanted to try to dig in, but it was the kindness. And so it really is. Kindness is a fruit of the spirit. What's the song? Her mom used to make her sister sing this song.
When we would start fighting, it was always be ye kind one to another, tender hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake has forgiven you. Ephesians 4:32. And we would have to sing that to each other when we would fight. And we haven't started that yet. Maybe that's our next step of when we start fighting. Awesome. Be ye kind. But it is really it's hard to be kind right now.
Good.
You're kind of being I think for me, I'm maybe a little selfish in these moments of it's so hard. I'm working from home. I have the 4 kids. I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, and it's hard to sometimes forget the other person's feeling that same thing and trying to be kind. And
exercise it, and you can make that practical. Go and write out a letter to your spouse. What are the awesome things that you love about them?
You have time.
The things you got time. You fell in love with. Just sit and think about it. Even if you're in a bad place and your marriage is struggling and you can find one thing to write, do it. Exercise that kindness. One of the things they even said in the study was interesting. One of the things about, like they said, kindness was also it was one partner showing interest in what the other partner was interested in. Missy, as you know, Cole, I love OU football, Oklahoma. And
I do
Missy
know that.
does not. But when Missy watches a game with me or like makes food for us when we're watching the game, chili or so whatever,
Yeah.
it makes me, there's something about it. I'm like, whoa, it just makes me
Or
happy.
when he watches Bachelor with me.
I do. I will.
Oh my gosh, that is a massive act of love.
Just for her.
Right.
But that's another, your spouse is watching the show. Watch the show with them instead of being on your phone the whole time or whatever it is. Be engaged, show interest in what they're doing, help them out.
Gosh,
obviously.
it's so practical. It's so practical, but it's so critical. I mean, I can count multiple times yesterday that I should have slowed down, not had a quick response, a sharp response, not barked back, but like reset, be kind, rewind. Let's do that over.
Yep.
All right.
And I think the thing is we know what we know what meanness is. We know what it is to be mean. We say mean things, we respond in a crappy way, and it builds up stuff. We have to remember kindness, not saying the terrible thing, saying the kind thing is actually more potent and more powerful than anything that you can be destructive.
Here's the truth. I hate saying sorry. It's a problem. I don't like to say sorry. So seriously, I will literally go, if I say this, if I do this, I'm going to have to say sorry. So it has kept me from my tongue saying bad things. Because I'm like, I know I'm going to have to say sorry to him because of what I shared. And so sometimes you just got to hold your tongue and just know.
She does have a hard time saying sorry. I
don't like to say it for sure, but
it has
so to avoid saying sorry, you're nicer. I love it.
She's just quiet. I've learned. I'm really like, oh no, I want to fix it right away. I learned when she goes quiet. Now I'm like, just let it go.
I'm just trying not to say sorry. So
if I push her buttons, then we're gonna end up in it.
That's the thing. I'm like, hey, I'm trying not to say sorry right now. So whatever's holding I'm in there. Don't push me and ask me what's wrong.
And don't talk.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The other last thing, is to go on a date. I know this sounds crazy, but it's hard right now because the kids are awake. But here's the deal: put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
I think so many people are trying to make it super fun for them at nighttime because maybe that's the only time that they can actually put their work aside. I don't care if you need to use melatonin, whatever works. Put those kids to bed. Get yourself on a routine. Our kids are, younger enough, but our teenagers are like, 15, 13. We'll let them stay up till 9:30, 10. But I need time to reset too.
Yeah.
Even if it's not with him, even if it's just we went separate ways from 10 o'clock to midnight, it's important. I think that helps recharge the couple thing too.
Yeah.
But the younger kids go to bed at a decent time because I just need a break. I don't know, but either way, it's important to have that time at nighttime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't have parent guilt for doing that.
No,
not at all.
My kids, I let them stay up pretty late the first 2-3 nights because it was kind of fun. It was exciting.
It's like vacation.
And then the meltdowns happened the next day. And I'm like, okay, I've ruined my whole day by not putting them to bed. And they're also miserable because they're tired. And so it just helps us all around.
Yeah. I think go on a date, get creative about it. Like get dressed up. Both of you get the kids to bed, go to separate bathrooms if you have them. If not, get dressed up. One of you can actually leave the house, walk around the block, and come in like you're a new date. Make it fun. There's a lot of things that honest, whether you're watching a movie, get takeout, set it up on the table, have a dance party. If you're watching a movie, do something special. Like make it different, get something for the popcorn, just get creative.
Bring your wife a bag of toilet paper for the gift as a
Amen.
date.
My birthday was March 16th. And so that's right when everything in California was shutting down. And so we had planned, we were going to go skiing because we're an hour and like 15 minutes from, the slopes. And so we were going to go skiing for my birthday and everything kept shutting down, but ski slopes are staying open. So we're like, oh, we're good because
his gift was skis.
Yeah, we bought skis.
That's what we were going to go do.
And so we love skiing. And so we were, we're going to be on the slopes. We're not going to be around anybody, all that stuff. And so we were like, this is great. And then like 2 days before they announced we're shutting, they're shutting everything down. So we're like, what are we doing for my birthday? You can't go anywhere. This is going to be crappy. But Missy and the kids made it awesome. She went and got Starbucks for the takeout, sat it out. They made me a little spa upstairs. They got facial, did a back massage, made signs.
Making sure the music was on, the jazz,
awesome.
you know, whatever.
But they were super creative in making it a special day. And I think I can say this to the men, especially men, make it be purposeful and give your wife a date night. Like get creative, whatever you do, just do a little something to make it special. Don't just Netflix and chill and just turn on the TV. Something awesome.
Yeah, a fun little date idea would be act like you guys are just starting to date. Like Jody did this for me a while back and had all these questions of when we would first go out, like almost like a speed dating round where you go, okay, so what's your favorite color? And you might already know that, but it was pretty awesome. So he basically asked us all these big questions.
So you have to treat each other the entire time like you've never
and so
I
acted like, I'm like, so wait, I'm sorry, what was your middle name again? And we started doing all this the whole night.
Where are you from? Who's your mom and dad? Like,
what makes you excited? Like, what makes you tick? And what makes you
totally.
But yeah, that was it was fun, but it was kind of just an interesting, different dynamic to kind of make our date just different and engage us in a different way. And it was fun.
So those are important right now to kind of get creative in, but put the kids to bed, be kind, rewind. You know, those are all things I think that's going to help you still be married after this quarantine. Hopefully, right?
I love it. All right. Can we do some questions?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a couple more minutes? All right. So again, you guys have been married for 19 years? 18 years. A lot of experience. Doesn't have to be questions on anything they shared. If you have questions for Jody and Missy, they have, man, a ton of wisdom. I think they said 4 kids. They've been through almost every season of life. Jada's 15. I saw Jada's name on there. I don't know if she's still on here, but
she probably is.
Yeah. Anybody have questions?
Another thing,
go ahead, Jody.
If we talked about too is we have one of our third kid, Logan, has special needs, and so that's a whole nother world that's thrown us into that's been amazing. But you know, it's another dimension to our life that has, you know, that we have to work through even during this time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love your videos and pictures of Logan. Like the one with Shrek, I watched like 14 times the one with Shrek.
You have to go on my Facebook because I had posted that I did that poop prank with him last night where you take pudding and you put it on his finger and he, no joke, goes and licks it. And I started gagging. You know, I gag all the time.
Oh, I love it.
That's on my Facebook. You'll have to check it out.
That is awesome.
Isn't that funny?
So it is. All right. Does anybody have questions? We've got all things. All right, here we go. Yes, this will be up to view afterwards. 24 hours. You can share it, send it. All right. Question. What about couples that just start dating? Any advice for them?
Oh, this is a rough one. This is like long distance, right? Like dating, really, because they can't. It's almost, that's how, if you lived in Texas and someone lived in California, this is how they would do. Yeah. I think it's a great time to start to get to know each other in the way of, hey, let's have 20 questions. Let's see how compatible we are right now. You know, asking them all these different questions, going back and forth of answering. Obviously it helps with the physical touch part, so you'll be safe.
Keep you safe.
But really, there's never going to be a more, you know, with you guys mentally getting attracted to each other is going to be right now. And I think having that's going to be,
it'll be a true test.
It's a true test of your relationship.
And, I mean, I would take it, since depending on where you live, quarantine, you're probably not going to be seeing each other physically. So I think it is a great test and a great way to build your, you know, it's, again, think of it, it is a good thing in the sense of you can really build your relationship without some other factors that might be affecting that.
Totally.
So getting to know each other deeply, you know, virtual date, all kinds of questions and conversations can be happening without the pressures of, you know, what are we doing tonight? We should probably, it's 2:00 in the morning. We should probably go our separate ways, whatever. You don't have all that. And so this is a great time to really truly
it's
build a deep relationship.
Story when if you guys do make it out of this, you get married, you'll be like, we were quarantined together on Zoom.
We need to have shirts. My marriage survived the quarantine.
Yes, we should get into that for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's go to this next question. I think this is a great one. I threw out some of this at the beginning before you guys jumped on, but any favorite books, devotionals, or sermons you guys have been watching together or that you would recommend to people during the quarantine?
Well, the truth is I don't read. So true story. I that's not what I choose to do, but I'm
reading. This is the book I'm reading right now is Life-Giving Leader. It is awesome. But my mind just went blank on who wrote that
for
book.
Couples. We don't really do. That's not our thing. I mean, there are some couples that sit and read together. I don't really think that's us. But Rhythms of Renewal is awesome. That's the only book I've read. I actually met her at our Thrive conference, and I told her, I said, hey, I just need you to know, I've only read ever the Bible, Hunger Games, and your book. And she was dying. I was like, seriously, I just don't read. And so she was laughing so hard. But so books.
I'm not going to tell Caitlin that you said that because she wrote a book and she doesn't need to know that.
I haven't gotten
Hopefully she won't watch it
today. That's what I'm going
to. I just joking. I'm messing with you.
Comes quick.
Yeah, I have a million podcasts that I listen to that would take me forever.
Yeah, he can maybe post in the comments after. This guy
really
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, there we go. Art of Manliness for the men. That's awesome. Great
one for men that I love. It's just
great. Couples ones. There's really
great.
Not.
Yeah, there's one that I've been listening to recently for couples. It's called To Love, Honor, and Vacuum. Is the name of the
there we go.
podcast my brother mentioned to me. I just started listening a little bit. Haven't listened to a ton, but very practical.
Well, I like that one.
Insight,
Love, Honor, and Vacuum.
It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Missy already likes it.
I'm like
awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys. Really appreciate you guys jumping on, Jody and Missy. I know a lot of people got a lot of help from it. Feel free, everybody that's on, share it. This is going to be live for 24 hours. Post it. Tell everybody about it. We'll be back next week with Becky and Derek Johnson. Oh, come on, kid. My son wants to say hi to his old children's pastors.
What in the world is going on? Dude, stop growing.
Seriously.
Yeah, tell me about it. Oh, you can't. He said you're growing. That's right. I get the headphones. They said they love you. You're the best child ever.
I know.
He knows.
He's growing.
Yeah.
He's like, whoa. That's so
awesome.
Thank you, Cole.
Go ahead, Jody.
Appreciate it, and for all of you on here, we just pray that this time will be a time of growth. It's Romans 8. God will turn everything for the good for all of us. And so he can take all this junk and all the stress and all of the stuff, and he can make it good if you let him do it. So,
and be kind, rewind, and shave your legs, ladies. That's just
be kind, rewind. Shave your legs.
It's time.
Yes, please, Caitlin. I hope you're watching. Please.
That's so funny. Awesome.
It's so true. It is so true. All right, guys. Well, hey, love you. Appreciate you. I will see you soon.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye. All right, folks. Well, hey, a few questions pop up there. Caitlin's yelling at me. I always shake my legs. I know you do, baby. Your legs are smooth as a baby's bottom, and I love it. She's yelling at me through the slider. Hey, all right, just a couple more things. I will try to answer a couple of these questions real quick that are popping up right now that came out after Jody and Missy jumped off. How do you suggest being emotionally naked in fear, uncertainty, and to give each other space to process without insecurities arising in fear? Man, great question. Definitely want to be cautious of creating pressure to have sex or to be intimate right now. Everybody responds to stress different. I think I saw a statistic that only 15% of people don't ever feel stressed out. So for the other 85% of us, intimacy is connected to this. Our ability to be sexually intimate with each other is connected. So, we may have to be more intentional with more connection if we're going to be intimate with each other and give each other space to do that. We freaking love you too. Don't forget to download before you post. I will, Abram. Look, folks, we love you. We're going to see you tomorrow with Becky and Derek. Goodbye.